Hello, we're the Sleepy AI Bros sharing our thoughts on AI just before bedtime. I'm Lumi, and here with me is. Yeah, that's him. Giddy is a total weirdo. But yeah, every night we talk about AI just before we go to bed, and we thought we would share this with you. Today, we'll be talking about AI and religion. All right.
Today we'll be talking about AI and religion. And I think I'll just start by asking some questions. By the way, we're going to take this discussion in two folds. We take it from a dreamy fantasy approach, and then we take it from a nightmare approach. Well, we are called the Sleepy Bro. What's that?
The AI Bros.
So yeah, Sleepy AI Bro. I'm sorry, that's ignore me. You just started.
Yeah,
That's it. So yeah, we'll take it from the dimension of nightmare, and then we'll take it from the dimension of street dreams. And we'll start with street dreams. So, based on what we have currently going on right now in terms of AI market, AI world, everywhere AI right now. We just even had that there's a godfather of AI, like even
yeah, well, I'm knowing.
But that's not the discussion. That's not the discussion we're having today. The discussion we're going to talk about today is regarding AI and religion. How AI affects religion in its entirety. So things like how does AI reflect in your religion? I'm a Christian, so I will use a Christian background to really give more context to what it is that I have to say. So starting with the church, right? Remember I said we're starting with the sweet part. The fantasy dreamy part, how does how important is the era of AI that we are moving into right now? How important is it in the church in terms of relevance, in terms of knowledge, in terms of results as well? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, lots of people are using AI to increase productivity and kind of enhance whatever it is they're doing. So I think like churches, for example, could, use AI to generate content, maybe visuals for their promotions. I even came across something where someone was using Chat GPT to generate sermons, with all sorts of Bible texts and stuff like that. So in some ways, maybe in the future, what you think is your pastor's sermon might just be Chat GPT or some other generative AI program.
As good as that sound, those scares me because there's a part of revelation that comes into play. So as a pastor, you would believe that everything that is going to be preaching is going to be inspired word of God, which is what was called the Rema, right? So in the revelation of God, and that is what we are supposed to be getting in church. And if I find out that my pastor came to church and then he gave me a sermon that was created using ChatGPT, I don't know, does that seem unspiritual? Some might say it's unethical, but we are not. This is not the ethics part of it. This is like the spiritual part of it. What is the reflection of spirituality in using AI to drive the service in church?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid concern because, people who are religious and tend to take the sense of spiritual inspiration very seriously. I mean, you're going to church because you believe this is divinely inspired, right? So if a machine is generating, the sermon, you may wonder, oh, is this really real? Is this really going to have the impact it's going to have? But I mean, I would say if the preacher is still spiritual, right? I guess during the course of the sermon, whatever inspiration they need could still come to them and they could apply to what the machine has made. So I don't really, I mean, it depends on who you ask, really. Some may feel, well, it's not legit. I think it may not necessarily stand in the way.
Okay, I want to actually look for trouble and shake them. Can God speak through machines? Like so, let me give you the context. So, I come to, okay, I'm looking forward to going to church, right?
Mhm.
And then part of the reason why I'm looking forward to going to church is probably to get edified by the word, or maybe to receive a miracle or whatever it is on on Sabbath, right? I go to church, and then pastor gives a beautiful sermon. I get filled, like the word that I get felt like a revelation from God, and I actually learned from it. But later on, and I get home, and then maybe a social media blog, this thing now carries the sermon and says this was AI generated. Does that still take out the feeling or the inspiration I got from the sermon? Because I might want to say that I got inspired through that sermon from God,
Mm-hmm.
right? So does that counteract that the results that it had on me, or will that still make it flawed? Am I permitted to say my pastor is a fraud? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying, because I mean, hearing that the thing that got you so charged and inspired, was machine generated, begs the question: did God inspire the machine, or was it just like a reflection of your own spiritual experience, right? Devoid of the content specifically. So, like, depending on, I mean, it's a matter of perspective, really. If you believe that regardless of the origin of the message, right, you can still be somewhat touched, inspired by, because ultimately, like, I think generally Christians believe that the Bible is inspired by God, right? So if you're feeding a machine content that is inspired by God, whatever it turns out, I mean, could theoretically be deemed inspired by God, but perhaps not in the same way as humans.
That makes sense actually. But so if I'm to give more context to it, the results you're getting from the machine. So let's use ChatGPT as an AI baseline machine that we're using as a discussion. What I'm feeding ChatGPT with, the topic I've gotten or the topic I want to use. So let's even take two approaches. The first one, I go to ChatGPT. I need a sermon for Sunday. I don't have a topic. I don't know what to talk about. Give me a topic and then give me an outline for the sermon. It does that. There's a second approach. I get, I have a topic that I could say was divinely inspired by God, but I do not know how to outline my topic. I go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, this is the topic I have. I need Bible verses. I need outline for it. Give that to me. Will you consider one to be spiritually right, if that's the word to use, and the other one should be a fraud, in the sense that one, because I already have a divine revelation from it, I'm just using ChatGPT as a means to flesh it out. While the first one, I did not even get any revelation or whatever. I just wanted to be lazy, or I just did not want to even have a connection with God, and I just go to ChatGPT to give me answer. And that, some people would probably say I have idolized ChatGPT and have made it a god to actually give me the message I'm supposed to be sending to people. Because part of the role or part of the purpose of what the pastors are, they're shepherds, and they're getting messages that's from God, who is their father, to give the sheep. So pastors are, we're going to use the word reincarnates of Jesus Christ, which is a father, and then we, the people that come to church, are the sheep. So the message that Jesus Christ has for his children, he's sending them through the pastor to deliver to the children. Now, when you replace Jesus Christ with Chat GPT, right? Does that become a spiritual error? This is asking so many questions. I knew I'll allow you to talk. Does that become a spiritual error? One, and two, if you say no, or if you say yes, it's a spiritual error. The other approach that I give, where you've already gotten the message, right, and then you go ahead to use ChatGPT, will you call that acceptable in the sight of God?
Well, that's a tough question and it's a lot. But if I'm to kind of synthesize everything into a few sentences, I think it's going to depend on a number of things. It depends on your background for your belief, right? So if you think that you can be inspired by God just through the text alone, which I believe people believe, a lot of people believe, like you could literally just open the Bible and some inspiration by virtue of the fact that they believe that the text is spiritually inspired, right? So you get inspired. So at the same time, I mean, we say, oh, pastors get inspired by God, right? But sometimes a pastor may not be inspired by God, even without using ChatGPT. You have no idea, really. So, given that is the case, right? And of course, there are times when the pastor is, in fact, inspired by God, right? So, if that's the case, I think if it affects you positively, great. I don't think it really much matters. But of course, subsequently, I mean, if spiritual leaders aren't doing any more work and they're just outsourcing the spiritual sermons to the machines, that has implications on like what does this religion really mean? How does it affect us? Is this really how it should be? And I mean, those are important questions, but I'm not certain we may have all the answers, which kind of takes my mind into another trajectory, which has to do with like the rise of AI religion. So, I mean, you mentioned something about people, uh, in a sense, idolizing AI. And there is a growing group of individuals actually who are seeing future AIs as being potential gods. So the fact that an AI machine already has access to essentially most of all documented human knowledge, so it's becoming omniscient, knows everything. We're encoding it with like physical laws so it can, as a matter of fact, have an understanding of reality. So as you move further, you can give AI machine like vision, perhaps you give them bodies, robotic bodies, so and in a sense, they become more and more powerful. As that happens, yeah, some people start seeing an AI religion. They pray to the AI, ask the AI for direction. And I don't know, what would that mean for society? Do you think people will accept such a religion? What's that going to be like?
So,
Well,
so yeah, I understand what you.
oh, AI, bless me this day. Lead me along a path of technological advancement.
You know, the problem with that is, as interesting as it sounds, it's very limited
Okay.
because so part of what makes our spiritual or religious belief um strengthened or spiritual, if that's the word,
Yes.
is because one, we see that there is an afterlife.
Yeah.
That's the God we serve will provide us with that. It's difficult to see that with an AI in the sense that you can't exactly say that an AI will live in a new, or the AI that exists right now exists outside the universe, or the universe that we're currently in. To the point that when one is dead, if there is an afterlife, that AI that you believe to be your God will exist in that afterlife.
So let's play an example. Let's imagine that with this AI religion, perhaps an artificial general intelligence like an ADI AI is created, right? And it becomes knowledgeable. What if it offers you immortal life on earth? And it says, hey, I found the cure for death. Would you follow me? If you follow me, you will not die. And on this earth, maybe the AI is able to like cure hunger, disease, and all those things. Perhaps I joke sometimes that maybe it takes over like our government or some. The thing is just asking is your allegiance. If you submit your allegiance to this AI machine, it will give you eternal life, at least on this planet or on other planets we decide to conquer. So, how do you think that would affect like human society?
That's actually very deep, and thinking of it actually scares me.
The nightmare.
It's one of the nightmares of AI, and the reason why it actually is scary because a lot of what we religious people use, if that's the religious people, Christians, use as a benchmark to holding on to the God that is served is faith.
Yeah.
Right. But faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You know where AI comes in to play in that? Is the evidence of things seen.
Yeah, literally give me right in front of
Would actually give you like this is the result of what you're looking for, right? And it's almost like you are a herbalist, for example, where they would show, okay, this is what you can actually get. You can see the result of it. It is very tempting to actually go that route. And so I ask myself the question that in years to come, what would we be able to hold on to that will strengthen our faith so much that if we find ourselves in such situation, we will not concede and say we want to surrender? Well, I'm speaking for those days.
I guess that's what
For the Christians, those that are very distant, because some people might push back and say, why do I want to take that approach?
Yeah, and why not just worship the AI and get all the stuff I need right here?
Exactly, and get immortality. Like we see how some of these things even play out in some movies that we watch, where you have people that are able to live 1,000 years and whatnot. And sometimes I wonder where the revelation of some of these things come into play, and how we see some of these things now playing out in the real sense.
They're
So
predicting
exactly,
rejecting it.
and so now seeing all that play out now, and then the thoughts the things that we already have in place in terms of AI, the emergence of AI, like what is next after this? The bets, it's not even the bets of AI, the public emergence of AI that we have right now, has started a new era of things that we only could imagine before coming to reality. So, for example, right now, very soon, these are predictions that I think that I have personally, just based on what the patterns I'm seeing. A lot of medical challenges that we had before will be very easy to solve. Things that has to do with lifespan, things that has to do with memories, things that has like a lot of these things will be easier to make and to develop or to cure right now. So if we're able to cross all of these bridges, looking at the challenges we have in the religious, in the spirituality or religion category, a lot of why people go to churches or go for all this follow a particular religion is because they do not have answers to some of the things that they're going through. They don't have solutions to it. If we take out that particular gap, 80% of people, well, maybe I'm exaggerating, but a lot of people will actually leave the church. Mm-hmm. It's very, so using Nigeria as an example, and we have so many churches. Yes, I have in Nigeria. Every street has like, you have churches planted everywhere, and a lot of the prayer points is financial blessing, heal someone, yeah, healing and all of these things. Now we have like a system that anybody can be able to actually get all of these things done just by having an AI partner, AI god, an AI god. Like now it's get so crazy that each person. So I would have my own. This is an example, not in this out AI god, but I would have like an AI god that is able to do this, that I've programmed to be able to do this for me. And then I go to a friend of mine's house, for example, and I see his own. Whoa, it can do way more than I'm this. I'm like, would you teach my AI god how to do this? Like, call on AI god tutorials. Or do you get like we start having tutorials on this and all? We'll not start having ranks in AI. It's just so weird to think about all of these things sometimes. But as weird as this thing sounds, it's a reality that I don't think we are too far from.
I mean, it could happen realistically. I don't think it's like out of a realm of possibility, right? That, of course, there may be critics who will say solving world problems is more than AI. We're yet to see that. We don't know. But like today, AI is already solving a lot of issues. And so, like, even in line with religion again, right? I think about how there are negative aspects of religion, right? And generally, the people who are designing AI today are working to see how they eliminate as much violence, negativity as they can in their machines. So, like an AI religion, perhaps an ideal AI religion would take like the best parts of every religion and sort of coalesce them together such that like its adherents would be living according to the best parts of every religion combined possible. I mean, these are possibilities, like, and that may change society in ways we can't expect. On the other side, like people may revolt against it. I can see people, especially Christians, saying, "Oh, this may be the Antichrist or something like that." No shade to why Christian people, but like that could happen, and it would beg the question. I mean, something as simple as COVID vaccinations had people questioning the intention of the government and if at all the vaccines were what they said they were. So I know that will come with some pushback. Well, ultimately, it'll be interesting to see.
I think another thing that this is actually going to cause is it would help to see the disparity between those that are actually fraud pastors and those that are genuine. It is also a way to actually hide under it, but for like in terms of how much revelation. See, I'm going to come from a spiritual angle right now. Right?
Okay.
What I mean is, there are false teachers, there are true teachers and whatnot. I'm not saying that everybody that uses AI tools to propagate or to propagate their gospel is a false teacher.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is using that as a benchmark or using that as a foundation for what you are doing is where it becomes a problem. And there are results that you cannot fake. The results that you cannot fake from a spiritual point of view. This thing doesn't just happen overnight. You might try to do it for a while, but eventually it will backfire. And we've seen a lot of people that, even before the advent of all these AI things, we see where they play too in terms of their spirituality, and then they fell because they were just not it. So you will start seeing a lot of that play out, and I think this is where each individual should be able to discern quite well who a true pastor or a true teacher is, what the foundation of a church is. Because right now, like based on this AI thing, I can just decide to sit down right now and start a church and do like an agent GPT church.
Yeah.
Where I tell the church this is the goal of what I want to achieve. And this, yeah, that is basically an idolization process.
I mean, you could see that it depends on
Depending on the goal you're trying to achieve, right? And you start to depend on it for something that you say it is spiritual. But where the problem lies, or why it now starts to become an idolization or an issue, is when you are going to the church, you are preaching about a different entity, but using a tool. So I'm not going to come to church and say AI GPT, see you will be fruitful and multiply. No, I will still use the Bible and try to leverage on the Bible and say it's the Bible that is going to do this, or say there are covenants in the Bible, blah blah blah. Whereas where I got all of those information is from AI. So these are interesting phenomena that I'm just like, oh, this, if you do not know what you serve or what you are doing, it is easy for you to get carried away. I don't know what's your.
I mean, that's a fair point because, like, at least from nightmarish possibilities, we look at it that there could be a lot of deception, lots of fake, in quotes, spiritual, like, leaders, establishments, just built on a fraudulent motive. Maybe it's just to make money, but like they have great sermons that move people, that draw people in. And that's a problem. And I think those are some of the issues with AI, which we'll address in future episodes, I guess. At this point, I think I'll also just bring one sweet dreams aspect to the whole AI and your spiritual journey thing. I know a lot of people struggle with, like, whether they're Christian, Muslim, maybe when they're trying to read their religious texts. I sometimes struggle with the way text is written, right? I know for Christians, people complain about, oh, one Bible translation is difficult to understand or something. So, like, to improve your spiritual journey, you could use AI to improve, like, your studying. If you're like Buddhist or Hindu, it doesn't really. I think Shinto. I think depending on what kind of religion it is, if there's a religious text, you could use that on your journey, like stuff that you find difficult. The machine can just make that process of study and meditation a little easier. I hear people also. I've heard of some Christians using AI tools to develop study plans. Yeah. Oh, you've done that? Well, I've done that actually. There you go. So, yeah. So, a newsflash. A newsflash, yeah. So, like, it's amazing. And time will tell, how far AI is going to really shape the world of religion and our societies as a whole. I don't know if you have any other words.
So, just parting word before we go to bed. Yeah, see AI, see this. I see these tools as a double-edged sword, right? And the same way we have all the other tools that have been in existence before the advent of AI. Everything is a double-edged sword. It's now left to you to determine or decide what exactly it is you want to use the sword to do. Really. We've played out the different this perspective to it, the good side, the bad side. The question now lies on what exactly are your values, what do you stand by, and do you understand what exactly it is that you stand by? When you do that, now try to tie in the tool. Remember, it's a tool. It is not supposed to replace what you already have. So the more you put that into your consciousness, the more you're able to control what it does for you. Because it's when you lose that control, that is where there's a problem. And then you allow it to dictate everything that's thought you stood by. So I think that's something to ponder on, and I really hope you do not have nightmares thinking about everything that was mentioned.
Well, I think I'll be having some dreams about an AI religion. It's something I'm interested in exploring.
Probably with sleep. Imagine myself with Bible like Paul fighting an AI robot.
Oh, why not?
You are a demon.
Actually, they could look like demons, but then, anyways, I think they could look like angels, though. So, I mean, you never know.
All right, I think that's it for now.
It's time to go to bed.
I'm dead.
So, I think those have been our thoughts right before bed. We're the Sleepy AI guys. Remember, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media. Leave your comments. Let's get your thoughts on religion and AI, right?
Yeah, it'll be sure to.
Be nice. So,
Trust me, you don't want to miss the next time.
yeah, we've got a lot
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
for you.
You have quite a lot, and you'll enjoy it.
Well, have a great. So it's time to go to bed.
Yeah, peace out.
Yeah. Good night.